Okay, so today we're ending Unit 2. This is going to wrap up everything that we've done so far. So, solving more ratio problems, lesson 16. So, in the beginning of this, you're just listening. This is a little bit of review from last class that I kind of needed to go over. So, when solving a problem involving equivalent ratios, it is often helpful to use a diagram. Any diagram is fine as long as it correctly shows the mathematics that you can explain. Let's compare 3 different ways to solve the same problem. And that's what we are going to be doing today. We're going to be using all 3 ways that we have learned. So the ratio of adults to kids is 2 to 7. So notice how your tape diagram for the adults, there's 2 boxes, right? So 1, 2. And then for the kids, there's 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the tape diagram's rectangles have as many as the ratio. Then it tells you that the total people is 180. How many are adults? Now, when you have a problem like this, tape diagrams are usually going to be the most useful because you have a total and we're looking for a part. So the tape diagram can be very helpful when we're doing that. So now remember above, our ratio was 2 to 7, right? So now with these tape diagrams, this slide in particular is what a lot of you were struggling with when you were doing the practice last class. So what you need to know is that the ratio is 2 to 7. So when you're doing these tape diagrams, what you need to do initially is you need to add them up. So 2 plus 7 makes 9. Now that 9 is key, right? So the tape diagram should have 9 equal parts. Okay, so notice the adults, there's 2 parts. And then for the kids, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the 7 plus 2 makes 9. Now what you do with that 9 is you take the total amount of people or things or whatever it's asking and you divide it. And when you divide them, it is telling you how many is in each rectangle. So there's 20 in each one of those rectangles. And if you were to add up all the 20s, you would get 180. So the tape diagram is very useful. So 2 parts of the tape diagram represent adults. So let's say that we were only focusing on the adults. Well, 20 plus 20 makes 40. So if I said how many adults are there, you would say 40 because 20 times 2 boxes is 40. Now, if I wanted to know the kids, I would do 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20. Or I could do 20 times 7 because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Okay, so if you asked me how many kids there were, I would tell you that there's 140. Okay, so the tape diagram tells us those things. Now, we can use the same thing for a number line. Now, for this one, it may not be as useful, and I think some of you can kind of see this huge jump that's happening here. You can't really see all the numbers, so you could still use it, but it's just a little bit harder when the numbers are bigger or when they're very small, like decimals. Okay, so the number line you would use, but it just depends on what context the question is saying. And then the tables are very useful, especially in a problem like this, because it doesn't matter if they're large or small numbers, right? So if you look at this, it says the adults, there's 2. Kids, there's 7, and the total is 9. Well, if you multiply 2 by 20, you get the 40 that you saw a little bit ago. And if you do the 7 times the 20, you get the 140 that I showed you with the tape diagram. And then if you were to do the 9 times the 20, you would get the 180 that you see in the table. So it says we ask ourselves 9 times what is 180. So the answer is 20. So then we multiply 2 by 20 to get all the other numbers. 7 by 20, 9 times 20, which is what I just did. So in this particular problem, that could be useful to you. So it says another reason to make diagrams is to communicate our thinking. So we want to make sure that we label important amounts, make sure to read it, make sure to answer the question or give the answer to the person. Include the units. So if it's 4, make sure to have cups and all of those. So we have used all of these. We're just going to practice them. So there's really no new information for today as far as new steps. So you're on page 87, and we're going to do just this one problem. So page 87, consider the problem. A teacher is planning a class trip to the aquarium. The aquarium requires 2 chaperones, so 2 adults, to every 15 kids. So this happens. This is a real scenario. Okay, so the teacher plans accordingly, and she orders a total of 85 tickets. How many tickets are the adults? How many tickets are the kids? So the first thing that you would do is find the unit rate. And that would be by finding what each ticket is, right? So we would do 15 divided by 2, and we would get 7.5. Okay, so now what happens is, if you look at the number line that they already started you're just going to count up from there, right? So 15 times, you're going up by 15 every time. So 15 times 2, however you want to look at it. Or 2 times 2 makes 4, 17 times 2 makes 34. And you're going to fill in the number line. So now for the number line to answer the question that they asked, so what is the total for 85 tickets? So if the total is 85, these are the numbers that are my answers. So if you just fill in the number line, you'll find your answers. You just need to make sure everything is vertical like you've already learned. So if I were to ask how many chaperones are there, you would tell me 10. How many kids are there? You would tell me there's 75 kids. So you're filling in the number line, and then you're writing what you see right there. That's what you need to know. All right, still page 87. Now we're going to do the same exact thing. 2 chaperones, 15 students, 85 tickets. And we're going to fill in the table, right? And then I have here that I multiplied by 2. I use the same numbers from the number line. Okay, so 15 times 2 makes the 30. 2 times 2 makes 4. 17 times 2 makes 34. And you're going to keep filling it in. So you're going to be going up, you're going to double it, or you're going to be going up by 15 every time here, 2 every time here, and 17 every time here, which is what some of you will do. And then I want to know about the 85 tickets. So my total is 85. So if it asks chaperones, there's 10. Kids, there's 75. So notice that it's the same problem, but you're still getting the same answer, just a different way. So you should be filling in the table, and you should write what I have here about the chaperones, 10, kids, 75. And then now you have this tape diagram. This is the newest thing that you have learned. And this is a little bit of a struggle for some of us, right? So 15 plus 2 makes 17. So that tells me that there should be 17 parts to the tape diagram, right? Now, right here, if you look at the kids, there are 15 boxes. If you look at the chaperones, there are 2 boxes, right? So now what you do is if you take the total, 85, and you divide it by the total number of boxes, you'll get an answer of 5. So what that 5 tells me is in every single box, there are 5. Okay, so now if it were to ask how many chaperones, how many kids, if you were to count all of these, this would be 10. And if you were to count all of these, that would be 75, right? So it would still give me the same answer that you saw above for the total. So the ending of this is, notice we got the same answers. It didn't matter which way you did it. You're going to choose what works best for you. When you do your homework tonight for Khan Academy, they're going to be using the tape diagram and the table for most of what you do. So join the meet and we're going to start our practice.